Welcome to Season 2 of the Cosmic Cafe Show, where the paranormal is normal. My name is Eric Brown, and I'll be your host and server. For today's daily special at the cafe, we are brewing up the question about the experiencer phenomenon. If you are not already aware, experiencers are people who have had experiences with extraterrestrials, ghosts, interdimensionals, poltergeists, and much more. To learn more about what to do if you are an experiencer, with me today at the cafe is Dr. Sasha Lessin and his wife Janet Lessin, who live in Hawaii and are visiting us here in our Northern California studio. Welcome to the studio, Janet.
Thank you for having us.
Welcome to the studio, Dr. Sasha.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Aloha, yes, indeed, aloha. Or as here in California, as we say, hey.
Hey. That's cool.
Today, we definitely want to focus in on the experiencer because you both have written a book or a couple of books on the experiencer.
I have started, I will show it actually.
Yeah. Okay.
Dance of the Souls, Pierce the Veil,
Okay.
which is the first in a series of books. I have 3 planned altogether, but I think it might end up being 4 books because the more I look into it, the more information comes out. This is like a autobiographical, but it includes other incidences and things are ongoing. There's
Right.
a lot of activity going, paranormal activity, plus I am an experiencer.
Oh, you personally are an
I'm an
experiencer.
experiencer going back to the crib.
Wow.
And I've had conscious contact with extraterrestrials, interdimensionals, and ghosts.
Okay.
And whatever.
Okay.
We're not, not sure exactly what I was seeing, but going back to the crib, I lived in a 1840s Pennsylvania farmhouse in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
No chances for ghosts there, huh?
Well, it appears the house was a vortex, an interdimensional vortex.
Oh my gosh.
And I've had psychics there. I took Dr. Lessin there in 2002, and he'll tell the listeners about his involvement in paranormal and past life and hypnotherapy. It's a big field. It's a huge field, so that's why it's going to be probably 4 or 5 books by the time I'm done.
Oh my gosh, I'm looking forward to that.
Oh, thank you. But the first one's out.
I'm super excited to get a chance to read it too. Thank you very much for bringing
You're welcome.
You did bring the copy for me, right?
I did,
Oh,
yes.
okay.
Yeah, this
I
is
was
your
thinking
copy.
I'll
And
have to
I
steal it
brought
when
you
she's not looking.
the Anunnaki book. Should I show it real quick?
You can if
Okay.
you want, yeah.
Well, we have our brand new, hot off the presses, Anunnaki False Gods,
And
which
that's a beautiful
both
cover.
of us. Thank you. And I can't say. Oh, it's available on our website. Can I say my website?
Sure. yeah.
Aquarianradio.com and EnkiSpeaks.com.
We'll just charge you extra for that.
Yeah, just send me the bill.
Charge you 2 Aloha cookies.
Okay, so we can afford that.
Yeah, absolutely. So you look very eager to share more about the experiencers as well. I could just see it in your eyes, Dr. Sasha.
Definitely. It's a fascinating field. I've sat with hundreds of people in holotropic breath work and past life regression. And when you inquire, you find millions and millions of people have had experiences that they choose not to share because of the giggle factor. They are afraid of being mocked, and the disparagement, and even the loss of jobs if they talk about having seen departed loved ones, or having contact with extraterrestrials, or remembering past lives. But I was an apprentice to Stanislaus Grof, and learned how to facilitate people using holotropic breathing, a certain kind of breathing, and meditation, and entheogens, substances that help you bypass your normal primary selves or your social selves and access parts that we all have that are that can see things that are not available in the ordinary dimensions that we function in socially.
Right.
And they're there for everybody, and even you. So you've got this affable public personality that we call Eric, and what we do first of all is we get permission from Eric, the one who's in charge right now, to let parts of you that are open to other experiences come out. But we can't do this any further unless this part, the social Eric, says it's okay, and let's we let you know, Eric, and you listeners, that your primary self, your Eric in your case, can come in anytime and say, that's enough, I don't want to go any further, and that's okay, because you're the one that's in charge that has gotten Eric where he needs to be in life right now. So we totally respect you. But Eric, do you allow parts of Eric that are more private, that can experience things that ordinarily he doesn't talk about, come out momentarily here on this show?
It depends upon if it's PG rated or rated R.
That's a great thing. It'll only be things that are acceptable in this media.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay.
Then I give permission.
Okay, so shift your seat a little around. Just
Oh, no, he can't move the seat. Just shift him in the
shush.
seat.
Okay, that's it. That
Okay.
shift is quite totally adequate. We have this
Okay.
shift. Okay, so part of Eric that is open to dreams or past lives or visions. Have you been active in his life at all?
No.
Never. You've never let any strange dreams come up or anything like that?
Well, maybe a couple.
So those are important. Even the couple of, and you don't have to tell me the content.
Okay.
But
probably best I don't on this show.
Yeah. But was there anything that came up that affected your Eric's ecology as a whole? We'll talk about Eric as a whole person.
I remember when I was a very young child an experience of being visited by a female entity. For exactly what she said to me, but I just remember that she was a friend, someone that I knew, probably from a previous life.
Beautiful, beautiful. And if you were to identify with that friend and get what her essence was like, and you were she, what kind of a being were you as that female friend? What's your characteristics and traits?
Very positive.
Beautiful, thank you. And as this part of Eric that can access this beautiful, loving, confident part, what is it that you need Eric to pay attention to in his life?
Travel the world.
Yes, to travel. He's listening to you. Is there anything else you'd like Eric to know?
Be happy.
Be happy and travel the world. That's enough for us to understand. And listen, Eric may want to contact you off stage and see what else you have to share, because I sense that you're a very useful part. And now I want you to go out and let Eric shift his bottom back so that he's back to the regular social Eric. Just shift back if you would.
Oh, okay.
That's it. Oh, there we go. So
Okay.
now there. So now make sure you're back into who you usually are, and I want you to now imagine that you're in between these two parts, the part that can access this unusual material and the regular part, and sort of shift a little in the middle, and we call this the center. There.
Okay.
So now the idea is to be able to embrace both the imaginal part that can access dreams and visions, and the regular social part, and that's all you need to do right now is to imagine you're in that space.
Okay.
You can even imagine you're at a mixer board and it's a social situation, and you're going to turn down your private part and bring out the social Eric more. I can see it changing in your face. And now let's say it's a safe situation. Your mixer board, you're going to bring out the imaginal part a little bit more, the child part. There it is.
Right,
Thank you.
right.
Then back to center. And now imagine that you're standing above Eric now as a neutral, fair witness. And you can see the entire Eric system, the imaginal part and the part that's the social part, and the rest of the parts that we're not going into, like the vulnerable inner child, I can feel him, and the powerful athletic part, I feel that in you.
Right.
And you can sort of see the whole Eric system. That's the neutral, fair witness. And then you back out to the center again. That's the center. The last part of this exercise is to take back this ability that you got from me, because I just showed you how to do it. It's now belongs to you. And anytime you want, you can access parts of you and return to who you'd like to be socially. That's a demonstration of the overall framework. It's called centering or voice dialogue. It's a form of Jungian psychotherapy. what we do if we're working with past lives, each of the sub-personalities, that's what we call them, that a person goes into, we regress. We'd say, imaginal part, if you were to go to a life you used to live where you occupied another time and another body, what kind of feet are you wearing? What kind of body do you have? What's going on around you? Something's about to happen. What is it? What did you learn from that life? Go to the afterlife, the interlife, and bring before you those whom you harmed and those who harmed you in that life, and see what karmic messages you have that have left you scripts that are still influencing you, and who in your life now is like those people you accessed in the past life. And so we can, once we open the door, always with permission with the parts of you that work, and giving them the right to say, that's enough, anytime. That's how we proceed, and that's exactly how we go when we're working with experiencers. We don't make the distinction between the ordinary, everyday, three-dimension reality and the other parts, but we give them all their say, because underneath every single part of us, there is a need. Let's say we have an angry part, which we and what the angry part wants to do is hit the people that's annoy us. And we say, we don't want you to hit anybody. We want to know why you want to hit them.
Okay.
And
that might be a carryover from a previous life.
Or it might be something like, why do you want to hit them? Because they don't listen to me. And why do you want them to listen to me? Because I have something to contribute. And so we get to, underneath the wants, we get to your true needs. The angry part, what it really needs, is effective assertiveness. And so if instead of being angry and saying nasty things or hitting somebody, you say, I need your attention because I have things to contribute. And so that's how we proceed. A little bit of therapy.
That's pretty amazing, actually. That's the first time I've been through an experience like that. And I have to say, I'm definitely intrigued. It'd be interesting to do this probably off camera.
Off camera, yes.
Oh, it's important to respect your privacy, and I salute your courage in sharing this vulnerable part of yourself, which is usually very private.
So for the people that are watching, if someone wanted to go through one of these things, are there classes in their local area, or is it something that only you do? Or
No, it's something that's quite universal. My teacher is named Hal Stone.
Okay.
And the system is called Voice Dialogue, and I have a site called schoolofcounseling.com where I have on...
we have the .org.
.org.
Schoolofcounseling.org. Okay.
www.counseling, and I have the paradigms that any intelligent adult can follow, either by recording and then doing things, or having a friend take them through it, or just looking through the directions and then doing it themselves. This is totally safe if you always allow the parts of you that manage and get you through life well to have the final say about what comes out and what you're ready for, and at any time to be able to say, that's as far as I wish to go right now.
So let me just make sure I heard you correctly. Did you say that you could pre-record the questions to be asked?
That's right.
And then just do it in the privacy of your own?
Yes.
So I guess you would set up a separate recorder so that way you could later play it back and listen to yourself.
I also have
auditories
on the site where where you can turn it off and on, where direction 1 is there, and Janet and I demonstrate. And so I would say something like, now are you ready to allow a vulnerable part? And the way this goes is it's easy for you to let parts that you're already public with. For example, your dancer, if you like to dance, and your daddy, if you're a father. It's easy for you to let those out.
Okay.
Okay, those are regular. But then a little bit harder is vulnerable parts. The parts that remember when you were hurt, when a lover left you, or when somebody you loved died, and then the traumatic parts, the time when your dog got run over or something even worse happened, those are harder to get. But the most difficult ones are the instinctual parts that as a member of society you've had to suppress, and that is impulses to hurt and sexual impulses that you don't want anyone to see. But they're there, and if you want to know what your sexual impulses are, it's not just in the dreams. It's in the daydreams that people have that they don't tell anyone about. But those hold keys. If you're not afraid of them, not that, oh, I shouldn't be having those thoughts, but what does the part of me that has those thoughts really need? And then you can address those needs from your center and see what you can do that's ecologically okay for you and the people you care about.
Oh, wow. So that helps people in their own privacy. They can resolve these issues and actually grow as a person and move past them.
Instead of drugging yourself out with things that say don't feel these feelings, this provides a safe process. You need to have a minimal intellect to do this and understand what you're doing. And so anyone that can read on my site and follow my vocabulary has sufficient intellect. Once your mind...
I would like to just say that anybody who's watching this show, there we go, anyone who's watching the show, you clearly have enough intellect. I guarantee you. Anyways.
So once your intellect knows something, it
yes.
can't not know it. You now have the paradigm. I've taken you through enough so that in your privacy, anytime you want to explore.
That's fascinating. So obviously he must have taken you through
well,
this.
Well, that's what I had.
You're an experiencer.
I'm an experiencer, so I had an incident that I have conscious recollection, but there might be some parts that are missing. So in the traditional abductee experience, somebody might recall being taken from the bed. They don't know what happened on the ship or where they were taken, and they recall being returned. So I've had some complete ones, but I've had like, okay, well, let me go, even if I remember the whole thing, let's go into that again and look at it again. And so when we do this type of, that's like a form of hypnosis. There's another thing where you lay down and you go really deep into it. But just getting your intellect out of the way and having someone facilitate you and help you go into it, then you get the more the details of what happened. And so when I met Dr. Lessin, Sasha, my beloved, I was an experiencer, and I also had some childhood trauma that I had to work through, and my family of origin was, typical American dysfunctional family, and so I had to work through all these issues so that I could be free to be happy and calm and centered. And
so you're a living example that it actually works.
It does work. It does work.
That's
Therapy
great.
works. Counseling works. Coaching works. Being facilitated, allowing yourself to be facilitated, works. Especially when you're dealing with things that are out of the ordinary, like paranormal and extraterrestrials, and you're trying to get up and go to work and be accepted, and you don't want to destroy your ecology by saying too much too soon. So you need someone to talk to and release this information, because our society doesn't accept it. And if you don't, you'll go a little bit crazy, or you'll have anxiety and stress, and you might compensate
Speaking of
by
anxiety and stress. Dr. Sasha looks like you said something that sparked a thought. It is.
Absolutely.
So I'm like, before he forgets it, I'm sorry.
Okay.
Absolutely. When there has been something that is traumatic or very upsetting to the child, and not just something upsetting, but I'll give a personal example. The way when you're a child, you're so open and so vulnerable, and you're too vulnerable to deal with this world. So when my little sister was born 5 years after me, and my mother was loving her and breastfeeding her. I wasn't breastfed, and no one was around. I would go in and twist her foot and hurt her. And my father, who I loved very much, caught me one day. He said, "Don't hurt your little sister." And so, what? I won't. And so then next time I went to sneak and no one was there, I went to hurt her, and I heard in my voice, Daddy's voice, saying, "Don't hurt your little sister." Instead of twisting her foot, I petted her head, and she looked at me, and we fell in love. That's the beginning of my conscience, or my inner critic, which gave me the ability to criticize my behavior before I did it, so that I could get the love I wanted from my dad, and plus I got this wonderful little sister. And so that is the way, if it's traumatic, you get such a heavy defensive self, like one of my patients whose father would come into bed and molest her in the morning, put her consciousness out in the tree with a bird, and but when she came to me for therapy, because her husband would cuddle up in the morning and she would turn on him and scratch him and hurt him and so forth, and she didn't know why. So I regressed her, and she came back, remembered this traumatic incident with her father. She resolved it. She therapeutically expressed her anger and her feeling of helplessness, and learned to identify with her own strength, and she stopped attacking her husband in the morning. So
bet he
that's
was
the way it
grateful.
works. And so that often you need to work through these traumatic experiences. And I do the same thing with post-traumatic experiences of soldiers and people that have been in car wrecks and so forth, so that they can, now that they're an adult and intellectually capable, they don't have to repress the memory, but they can have it, they can discharge the emotion and integrate that part of them. And this is a case where somebody spaced out. But now she could, spacing out's a good thing. She could space out when she wanted to, but not automatically, and not early in the morning where she turns around and tries to kill her husband. So it's important if there's
How does
trauma.
this work with experiencers?
This is so same too with experiencers who have had,
Let me bring it back to
particularly
topic.
that have people that have had uncomfortable medical experiences, like catheters put in them, or
We're talking about extraterrestrial
I'm
experiences.
talking about that, Janet. That
Okay.
that often when the Greys take somebody, men they get their seed with a catheter. With women, they insert something right here. They impregnate them with the and then later on they take them back and take the baby out, bring the woman back to hold and nurture the baby and so forth. And they make a series of generations until they have hybrids that are among us right now. And so when they start to recall these things, they can get past the trauma of having these uncomfortable medical procedures done and realize what else is happening. And what usually else is happening is they've been enhanced, they've been given gifts by the extraterrestrials who want them to be loving mothers to the hybrids that they're breeding in order to help us deal with the crises that we have to deal with on this planet.
Right. Has there, when you've been regressing these people, or maybe you can answer this also, skeptics always are saying, well, it's just these women just making up these fairy tale stories and stuff. That's never happened to them. I mean, there's no such thing as aliens. There's no such thing as implant, except for maybe women. Anyways, we won't go into that in kind of implant.
Right.
So anyways, is there actual like scarring or, physical like evidence that you guys have found in working with these people?
Well, there's a lot of people doing the research, but yes, Roger Lear was taking out implants and they were doing analysis. I guess there's people taking over because he died recently.
Right.
And so I was implanted. I had one behind my right ear. I had one up in my sinus cavity. I've had some scoop marks.
Now, were these removed?
No.
Oh, so you left them there.
We're not sure what the purpose is.
Oh, okay.
So no one has done this. This is a new field. We're just now emerging after, Betty and Barney Hill was the first real case that came to the forefront about abductions, and that was in, 62 or 63, something like that.
Yeah.
So it was rejected, and nobody, we don't have let's go study this. So independents have been financing it and doing the research over the years, and we don't know what what the purposes are. Some of them are tracking, some supposedly help maybe some medical conditions. There's reports of experiencers, abductees being healed from terminal diseases sometimes, minor things.
So your thing. So
go ahead.
You kind of touched on something that's
Yeah.
kind of fascinating. So it may be possible that these people have been implanted with something that actually could cure them of maybe an incurable disease as we know it, but because of that implant, it helps their body correct it, or the implant itself is a medicine or something.
Millions
that
of
helps it.
people all over the world from every country have reported this phenomenon.
Yeah.
And when people make something up, where is the up that they make it from?
Right.
This is a holographic universe, and everything that exists in some form in every molecule of this universe. And once we allow ourselves to go beyond 3D reality, we can access everything that there is, the Akashic records, so to speak.
All right, so let me just ask you a brief question about those implants and everything. So it definitely is clear evidence that there's healing properties to that. And Bob!
Janet.
Holy moly, Bob!
Oh my goodness, where were you?
Doctor.
You made it out of the.
What happened?
The Men in Black let you go?
Well, I found out I was up in Petaluma all this time,
Petaluma.
and I had knocked out one of the guards and took his uniform and took
Oh my
the
gosh.
car. And the car ran out of gas about 10 miles from here, so I had to walk the rest of the way.
Oh my
I was
gosh.
hoping you were
look
here, but I
tired.
didn't know
Oh, yeah, we're
Janet
back
and
in
Dr. Lessin
town.
were here.
What happened when they had you?
They were trying to just do something with
Wow.
my brain. They had this band around the top of my head, and I kept getting surges, and it was weird. It was just the weirdest thing. They just kept putting like false memories in my head.
Oh my God.
If you could talk to them now, what would you say to them, Bob?
Don't do this. Let the
Wow,
people
this is
know that
unbelievable, folks.
Nibiru is coming through our system right now, so they can prepare. Because they have to prepare for what's possibly going to happen pretty soon. Hopefully, it won't be like what it did the last several thousand years ago, but hopefully we'll be okay this time with our new advanced technology.
Hang on a second, buddy.
Yeah.
I just
I'm
need.
just
We're
glad
just
to
wrapping
see
up.
you.
We only got about 30 seconds left or so,
sorry.
and so just real quickly, tell us. I mean, how long do you think you've been gone and been missing?
Well, I was kept in what I think was solitary confinement, and when I was in the car, I looked at the date that was on the what looks like a GPS thing, and it said it was today's date. Look, I was up there for over a month.
Yeah, you've been gone for almost half a year, buddy. Because I remember when he came in and took you away. Folks, this is amazing. Obviously, there's a lot going on. Maybe we'll talk to Bob after we finish up with the lessons. But I want to thank you guys for stopping by.
Thank you so much.
My
We're
pleasure.
pretty much out of time.
Anytime.
So
Okay.
we'll make sure that people give out your website here real quickly again.
Let's see,
so
which
people
one?
can get to your
which one?
experience book.
Extraterrestrial contact.
Contact.com.
There we go, extraterrestrialcontact.com. I'll also have everything linked on the Cosmic Cafe show, and I'll have their bio again updated with all this information, so you'll be able to link to everything. With that, I'd really like to thank the crew and everyone here at the studio who has helped us here at Chabot College to produce this show today, and especially Sue Joy, who is the manager, director of the whole facility. Also like to thank your local PEG TV station for broadcasting the Cosmic Cafe, and Bob's still breathing heavy in my ear, but, but I'm trying to get through this quickly before I run out of time. And stop breathing so loud, Bob. And we're on social media. You can find everything on CosmicCafeShow.com. And thank you very much to all the TV stations that broadcast the show. My floor directors tell me to hurry up. We got to get going. So with that, I'm going to say goodnight. Thank you. Oh gosh, good to see you. Yeah, I'll give you a hug. Good to see you back, buddy.
See you here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let's keep talking and stuff.
Oh, that was amazing.
Tired.